All right, so we are back here down again at Spudnik. We are picking up the piler. They did get it done and ready this time. They're coming to switch the hitch because somehow this one got bent. And then over here we got our extendable conveyor. Brandy's gonna be pulling it back to the farm. So this is an expandable. It'll hook to the piler. And then they got a couple of conveyors ready. There's one conveyor. Josh is pulling it back. And then I am pulling the new sorter table back, the 990 sorter table. So it should be for a good, relaxing drive home at about 20 miles an hour for about 15 miles. We just pulled out of Spudnik. We'll just say slow and steady wins the race. They recommended 25 to 30 miles an hour. We got about 10, 12 miles to go from Spudnik. So here we go. We got the two conveyors in front of Trevor. And then the piler is Trevor pulling it, and I am pulling the eliminator. All right, we just made it back here to the farm. It was a long, slow drive. Grandpa's out here, my mom's out here. We just pulled the sorter table here. And back there we got Josh and Brandy with conveyors and Trevor with the piler. And that's the even flow bin that we pulled back the other day. So we are getting geared up and getting ready to go for potato harvest. What do you think, Grandpa?
Yeah, looks good.
It's all big and
big and all new. It shouldn't be breaking down.
yeah, I'll show you here some of the cool things about this here in a minute.
I hope we have enough power to run it.
That's what I was hoping too. Well, we finally sold the last of our conveyors, so we're just loading them up with these guys. They're gonna take them and hopefully get a lot of use out of them. We only have 4 conveyors left. We've sold everything else from our old Spud equipment, and we've sold this, so I don't think we have anything else. Now we got to make room for all of our new equipment, so we're gonna get this loaded up and get these guys on their way. All right, everybody. Well, today I was just gonna show you what we're kind of doing. So we're not doing one exact thing. We're kind of doing a little bit of everything. So you can see behind me, this is all the new potato equipment that we have gone and picked up. It's gotten finished and we've gone down and picked it up. So I'm gonna kind of give you a rundown of how this all works, how it gets set up, and then I'll kind of go show you what we're doing over at the shop and what I'm doing today. It's just, we're all kind of doing a whole bunch of stuff trying to get ready for potatoes. So we're gonna start with this. So to start it off, we have our even flow bin. So they did come and put the stingers on. The trucks will unload right here. These will just, they'll go up and down. The trucks can back up and unload. So we can actually unload 2 trucks at a time, or have 1 truck unloading while another truck's backing up. And then as this one starts to get empty, we can start to turn on the other one. That way we have a nice flow that never stops going up the belt into the bin. So this bin is the same size as our old bin, but it's way upgraded. It has bigger electric motors, bigger hydraulic motors. It's wider, more capacity. It has all these hydraulic leveling jacks versus ours were just like a hand crank jack you'd find on like a gooseneck trailer. But this, I'll show you the back. It just makes it so there's a nice even flow of potatoes. That's why they call it an even flow bin. So the trucks can unload into here as fast as they can, and then we can just set this bottom belt to have a nice steady amount of potatoes coming off. So now I'll go show you the sorter table, which is right there. And that's what goes behind this. This is our new sorter table. It is a lot bigger than our old one, and Spudnik will custom build. They sit down with you and they custom build everything. So everything is customized for every customer. They do have just specific ones, like they'll just build a whole bunch of and sell them. But this one we had custom made just for us. So we have a belted chain on the front. So all the dirt that comes with the potatoes, because the even flow bin didn't have a belted chain, so it will dump all the potatoes and everything here. So this is supposed to get all the dirt and as many of the rocks and vines as we can out of the potatoes before they continue into the cellars. With this, we have a really wide, I don't even know how wide that is. That is probably a 6 foot wide belted chain going up. And a lot of the dirt, hopefully there's even shakers. So there's these shaker rollers. Let me see if I can, so you can kind of see this arm underneath the belt with these yellow rollers. So this will actually shake like this. So it's gonna bounce the potatoes a little bit to try and shake all that dirt out. And then that's what this big arm is in this motor. It shakes them. And all that dirt will fall down here onto this belt. So this belt runs full length of the hopper belt, the belted chain, and that comes back here onto this. So this will dump up here onto this, and then this is our dirt belt. So we can shoot the dirt out this way or this way, either one, and we'll have, there's a little piler, a dirt piler that we put on the side, and it'll dump it up into a dump truck. And then after it goes through there, up the hopper, it comes up here across this. So this is a really big, I think it's an 8 foot long, 6 foot wide, it's not star rollers. These are like round rollers that are, they have little dips in them and stuff. So the star rollers are for sizing. These aren't for sizing because we don't want to lose any of the potatoes. We want to keep even the little ones. So these, there's just a little bit of a gap between them. So not much. And this ram right here will actually tighten these up. So it pushes them closer together. So we can tighten it up. So if we see we're losing some little potatoes, we can tighten this up and not lose as many. But this is mainly just to get rid of dirt. We just want to try and get rid of all the dirt, and it'll probably pull a few vines and stuff out too, but mainly we're just trying to get rid of all the dirt. This is the dirt separator. This is the eliminator table. So comes from there to right here. Now right here we have another belted chain that is 6 feet wide and really long, and we have these little boxes. So right where I'm standing, and right there, we're gonna have 3 people on each side, and they'll be picking the stuff, all the rocks and rot, and they'll drop them down here, and this will drop it and shoot it underneath where there is another belt. Oh, it's hard to fit between there. But underneath here, there's this belt. So it'll drop everything down here. All the dirt will drop through here. All the rocks and vines will come through this little chute onto here, and this will be going this way, also dumping on that same, the gap where we have this little dirt, the dirt elevator that spits it out the side. All right, so that's pretty much it with this. There is that canvas right there. This will be enclosed, so the people who are working in here won't have to deal with all the wind and weather and rain and stuff that we usually get during harvest. Now this on the back, this will tip up and down, and what goes behind this is this little conveyor. Now this one, we had this one from last year. So we had this one on our old sorter table. This is just a little short conveyor that goes right underneath here, and we can flip a switch and it can go one way or the other. So that makes it to where we don't really have to move this that much. We can kind of move the other conveyors, so this doesn't have to move. Ideally, we could set up the even flow and this all in one spot and not have to move any of it. So after it goes from that, it dumps onto just a normal conveyor. So I'll go show you one of these. This is one of our, it's just a normal conveyor. It's not exactly normal. They make them, you can either just get a fixed one where they just kind of link together on the ends, or what we did is these are all hopper conveyors. So it has a hydraulic ram right here that this tilts up and down, and on the other end there's a hopper. So we're getting 8 of these. We don't have all of them yet. I think we have 4 here, but here's a hopper. So there's adjustable tires on each end, so this can go up and down, and that end can go up and down. And we actually custom ordered. They special designed these wheels for us. So not those. I think those are the ones that came on it. But these. They had big old fixed wheels that were really wide and wouldn't work very well. So we had them take the same wheels that were on the other end and shorten the axles up. And these are all spinny wheels too. I call them crazy wheels. But these all spin. So the other ones, they're normal ones, they're fixed. So it's hard to move them out of the way. Since these spin, when we're in the cellar, we can just like, oh, we need to take a conveyor out. We just push it sideways. We can just push it out of the way and then drag it down the end of the cellar. So we don't have to mess around with moving stuff around as much. It'll be a lot easier to do. So we had them custom do this for us. I think it's, I don't know why they didn't do that from the beginning. Our old conveyors had crazy wheels on all ends. So I don't know why they went to a fixed wheel. So these are 40 inches wide and they should hold a lot of flow. I believe all of this stuff, all of our old stuff had 3-horse motors on it originally, and all of this has 7-horse motors. So they should be able to more than handle the flow that we're trying to do. So we have this one, that one, there's one right there, and there's another one over there. So those will all go, just they'll take the potatoes down the cellar. And with having the hopper, that's another thing, with having the hoppers, is they don't have to be straight in line. We can angle them how we want. So we can come out of the front of the cellar and go sideways. So that's one reason we wanted to get the hoppers, because all of our old ones were bolted and you had to be perfectly straight and it was kind of a pain. But these will run down into the cellar and dump onto this. So this is not a normal conveyor. This is an expandable. So it still has the hopper, but you can see it's a double layer. So this one, it goes and extends and pulls in. So what that does is this end will hook to the piler right here. So it just has a ball on it, normal hitch. That will hook right here to the piler. And when the piler needs to move, it can move the entire length of one conveyor before we have to take anything out. So we like having an expandable conveyor. That way the piler, we don't have to take anything out for a while. The piler can move 40 feet before we have to take anything out and do any adjusting. So that's what this is. It's also 40 inches, except for this bottom belt is wider because it has to go wider than that belt. But that will dump onto our new piler. So this is our new piler. It'll dump on here. So it has this plastic here. So all the dirt will stay on here. It won't fall through. Now there's a reason for that. We don't want to get any dirt in the cellar on the floor. We'd ideally like to not have piles of dirt that get potatoes put on them. So we have this little white sheet will carry the dirt up, and it doesn't go all the way up. It just goes part way, because it'll go up, and then there's this little conveyor. So this is a dirt conveyor. So it goes up, the sheet ends right here, and the dirt will fall right onto here. And this plate here catches all the rest of the dirt, and it also slides down to here. So ideally, none of the dirt will end up in the cellar. It'll all go on here, and we're either gonna have like a dump wagon that we can hook a 4-wheeler up into, pull it out, or we might just put the Ranger right here because it's got a dump bed. We haven't quite figured that out yet, but we're just gonna have this dump into a cart or something and then pull it out of the cellar so we don't get all the dirt in the cellar. But this is quite an upgrade over ours. I believe it is also 40 inches wide. It might be 42. I'm not entirely sure on that. But it's just, it's the same length and everything, but they beefed it up so it's a lot stronger and should just do a lot better job. But yeah, this is all our new cellar equipment. We still have, I think, 4 more conveyors to bring down. They're slowly churning them out. They call us like every day and say, hey, oh, you got another conveyor ready. So Josh is actually down there right now, and he's getting another conveyor. We are all pretty excited to run all this new cellar equipment. Last year, that was our main problem. The field was really fast and was unloading the trucks really quick. Our yields were really high, but the problem was we couldn't unload them fast enough at the cellar. This, our old one, it just couldn't take the flow. All of our conveyor belts, they were all tripping. They couldn't handle the flow we were trying to put across them because they were just 30-inch conveyors. So yeah, this should definitely speed up the cellar. We're very optimistic that it will speed up our operation. Last year, we're doing a little bit more acres than last year, but last year our main problem was the cellar. It took us a month to harvest. This year we're hoping that we can get them all out in 2.5 weeks, ideally. But I'll take you in here. They've been pulling potatoes out. I'll show you how much we have left of this cellar. So we got STI here. They're hauling all our potatoes in, loading this truck right now. It is a little smelly in this cellar. We have a little rotten patch in the back that they're slowly getting to, but they've hauled out probably 2/3, maybe a little more of this cellar. They're taking 10 loads a day. So that's all we've got left. It's like we can see the back wall. And right here where it's starting to dip, that's where our rotten patch is. But it's not too muddy. It's not too bad. It's definitely not as rotten as that other cellar that we had. So they're getting these out. We hope to have this cellar completely cleaned out within a week because we have 2 other cellars that are still full. Those cellars are still keeping really good though. So we've hooked up a few things. This is our vine beater. So this will go before we harvest to chop all the potato vines because we green dig. We don't go through and kill them. Most people go through and they'll kill them a couple weeks before to set the skins. We don't do that. We green chop them. We green dig, and we'll take this through and we'll chop the vines about 4 days before. I'll show you underneath here. This just has a bunch of flails underneath it, but they're angled. They're angled so they fit down in the spud rows. So ideally you're not catching rocks, but it just goes around, chops the vines off, and then we can harvest. Another thing we're doing to get ready is we are taking the beds off. So we just took this bed off of the trucks that are over there, and this is one of the hay beds / manure beds. We have to take them off, and then all these bulk beds right here that are lined up, we have to put those on for potatoes. So we are taking the beds off, we'll stack them up, and then we'll put the other beds on. All right. I think this is one of the last beds we're taking off, at least today. We have to be careful because there's a gearbox hanging down right here that we don't want to hit the frame. If it hits the frame, it bends it. So it's the one thing that we're always a little cautious of. Something's hanging up. So, oh no, there it goes. There it goes. It's just lifted in the front and not in the back. There we go. Oh dear. There's that gearbox. We just tapped it. It is welded, so it's pretty strong. I'm going to move this truck out of the way. We'll go and hook this one. We've got these 3 beds now that are taken off. And there's one in the truck in the shop. Truck in the shop over there. But basically what we like to do is these trucks don't get the beds taken off very often. And spud harvest is one of the only times that we drive these trucks at night. So we have to make sure that the lights work. And usually they don't. See, this one's busted. This one has the wires ripped out of the bottom. And what causes this is during hay, they have to back up to the bagger. And usually it'll snag the lights, it'll break the lights, or it could also be in manure when they back into a pile of manure when they're backing up, because it's usually not a whole lot of room. So the lights are usually either not working or broken. I mean, here's the next one. It's definitely broken. And that one might actually be okay. It might just need a cover on it. Let's go see if one of these has intact lights all the way around. There we go. This one has intact lights. There's a couple things unwired, but I think that's for the spud beds, for the wire for the spud bed. So I think this one might not be too bad, but the rest of these, they need some work. As you can see, this one has a busted light too. Still blinking, but the cover's broken. So some of them just need new covers. We also had all new vent pipe. So the cellar that was rotten, we pretty much destroyed all the vents trying to get them out. So we had all new vent pipe dropped off yesterday, and should be good. It'll be nice to have new vent pipe. Hopefully we don't have any more rot and we break them all getting them out. So ideally that would be the case. But these look nice and new. I don't even want to know what the price tag was.
Well, we're getting our pipe off the trailer. As you can see, me and Josh are being counterweights against here because the stack of pipe is a little heavy for this. So we're down here standing on the back. Chris was in there. These are our new cellar pipe for number 2 because we destroyed all of them when we had to get all them rotten spuds out.
We've also hooked up, this is our crossover. So this is what goes into the field after I chop the vines. It digs up the potatoes and spits them out the side. And then the harvester. So the harvester comes through. We don't have that hooked up to a tractor yet because I'm actually using that tractor to disc right now. The harvester comes through, it picks them up, and then it has a boom that folds out and it loads the trucks. The tractor that pulls that is actually right here, hooked to the disc. So that's what I have to do today, is I have to go disc up the manure. Now I was planning on making a manure video, but they've been hauling manure. The whole time we've been doing grain, they were hauling manure. So none of us were actually hauling manure. We just had our pipe movers, because once we shut off the grain, the pipe movers, we put them in the manure trucks and they started to haul. So our pipe movers have been hauling for about a month, and they've hauled a lot of the manure out. So we didn't have to go do that. We've been disking it in, but we normally get done with wheat, we do hay, and then we switch all the beds over to manure beds and we haul manure for about a week. Then we get all the spud stuff ready. But they hauled enough out while we were doing wheat harvest that we don't have to switch the beds. We're just going to keep the 4 trucks that we had going. We're just going to keep them going. There's 2 trucks that we can't put potato beds on. So we're just going to keep those 2 beds as manure beds, and we're going to keep them hauling manure all spud harvest. So hopefully we get done with spud harvest and all the manure's gone and we don't have to do any hauling. Normally we get done, we do another crop of hay, and then we haul manure for most of the month of November. But if those 2 trucks can just keep hauling the entire time we're digging spuds, then we won't have to haul and it'll be pretty good. We'll get more out because they'll be working constantly. Now over here, we're doing a little bit of a renovation on the front of the cellar. The doors on the front of the cellar got hit with a semi when they were taking the potatoes out, and it kind of ripped the whole frame off. So we have Craig and his dad over here. They're peeling the siding off and they're reframing the door, and they're going to get the door all fixed and put back on because we're going to be putting potatoes back in the cellar before too long. I've got to go grease this thing because you have to make sure you grease these Lemkin things really well because they have very tight tolerances and they'll seize up on you. So I'm going to go grease this and then head out to the field and catch up the manure. They've got about half a field done, so I need to go catch that up. I should be able to get it done by the end of the day. Another thing we did this morning is we had to put duals on this tractor, so we put the duals front and rear on this tractor. Christopher did video a little bit, so I'll put some of that video right here. Now he's got the bolts in, Trevor's got the gun coming out. Gets them sucked up a little bit, then we'll unhook the chain and I will go get the next one. And I'll go get the next one. Well, this is probably as close as you're going to get to a manure video. I may try and get some footage of them out in the dairy loading up. I just got out to the field unfolding my disc here, and you can see this is all manure. So there's a manure truck right there. He's still spreading. They're just covering the stubble. We got to get the stubble covered, and then we will turn all the water on and get it watered up good. We have to water the stubble because they haven't been watered in about 3 months, and we got to get it watered because that's the moisture that we're going to have in the spring. We got to get that moisture back in the ground. So we have 4 trucks running. Usually there's only about 2 or 3 trucks running because one's always broke down, but there's one in the shop right now. But we've got 4 trucks running ideally, and then we'll have 2 trucks running during spud harvest. And we're gonna try and get all of our stubble ground covered before winter comes. I'm gonna drive over here to where I ended the other day and get started. Okay, I'm going now. This thing pulls pretty good, 9 miles an hour. I'm not all the way down. I've got it set at 8. So I really don't need to go all the way down because I'm just trying to work this in. I'm not trying to fully work up the stubble because we're gonna be coming through this again with the chisel plow. Once it gets watered up this fall, we'll come through with the chisel plow. So, and that'll work it deep. So I'm more just trying to get the manure worked in, and yeah, I don't need to go as deep. This doesn't do as good of, it doesn't go as fast as that big quad track or our 9510 does, but I think our 9510 could probably pull this at this depth, probably close to 10 and a half miles an hour. And that big quad track was going like 12 or so. So it doesn't go quite as good, but I mean, this is our 8370 and it still does a really good job. Better than our old, we used to pull this disc. It was a 8430 John Deere with duals in the back, and they were wide tires. It's actually the same tractor we use to plant grain now. So that one doesn't get used as much. It gets used in hay and it gets used to plant grain, and then that's about it. So this tractor does pull this better than that did, but we are anxiously awaiting our 9510 so we can go faster through the fields. Also, the 9510 doesn't use DEF because it's pre-DEF, and this does, so it'll save us a little bit of money on DEF. But yeah, I'm gonna keep going here. I'll bring you back at the end for a little update, see how much I got done. All right, little update. I'm getting closer to them. They only have a couple more passes. Just right there is what's left. Here's a truck right here. There's another truck at the other end of the field. So they're almost done with this field, but I'm catching them. It is dusty. There's not much wind today. But yeah, probably another hour and I'll be about done with this field. They'll probably be done in, I don't know, 2 or 3 more trucks. Looks like they'll be about done. It is kind of impressive how this disc does. I've always been impressed with the Lemken discs. And I mean, all the Lemken equipment has been very, very well and has done a very good job for us. But you can see the stubble and the manure and how thick it is, and then like where I've gone, you can't really see a whole lot of stubble or manure. And that's just with one pass. And I mean, this disc isn't max depth, but it's probably only going 4 to 6 inches deep because the ground is so hard and dry. But still, like, it's just chewing it up so good. I've always been impressed with this disc. And our new chisel plow is pretty amazing as well. The disc makes it really smooth, but our new chisel plow actually, because of the improvements they've made on the new ones, our chisel plow actually makes the field smoother than the disc does. So I'm just getting to the end of the field here. I have this pass and that pass, and then I have to do the ends, and then I'm done. And they just finished, so they are, you can see a truck right there. They've moved across the road, and they're over there starting the next field. But I'm not going to worry about trying to catch that one up tonight. I'm just going to get this field done, and I'm going to call it a day. Okay, I'm just finishing up the end. I already did the other end of the field. I just have this little strip right here, and then I'll be folding it up and going back into the shop. This disc is pretty awesome. It's nice that we can pull it about 9-10 miles an hour, because when we used to pull it with our 8430, we could only go about 5 miles an hour. And it just took forever, and you could not catch up, especially when they were running 8 trucks. So it's nice that we can go faster now. If we had our 9510, we'd be able to go even faster, which would be even better. But hopefully we'll have that back soon. All right, I just have to fold it up now and make sure that my depth and stuff is all lifted up so I don't accidentally drag it on the road. But while this folds up, thanks for watching, guys. You guys are the best. Love the comments. I love that you guys in the wheat video, everybody told me where you were from. It was awesome to see where everybody was from. But make sure you go down below if you haven't already and hit that subscribe button. Make sure to hit the like button and hit the bell so you get notifications for when we put out a new video. I love you. I'll see you in the next one.